Hey friends, it's Simone, your favorite neighborhood nerd. I'm here today to swatch some inks that my friend Manda, Inksplat Manda, sent me in January. The reason she sent those over was because I really fell in love hard with Kobe 56 Rocco Shichidanka, and I had an alert at Venice put in to notify me when this ink came back in stock. And it did, and I put it in my cart, and then I put some other things in my cart that I needed to think a little bit about. And so I left my cart overnight, came back the next day to purchase the ink, and it had already sold out. What a bummer. But she was able to snag a bottle and offered to send me another sample so I could use it in the meantime until I got my hands on one. And then she just, I think what she did was send over some more of the inks that she purchased in that order. She also shared Tono and Lim's Wasted Paper Perfectly Insane, which is a cat-themed ink because she knows that I have 3 cats. And then we talked about this Diamine Inkvent Baltic Breeze from the Inkvent 2024 over a year ago, and she offered to send me a sample, and then we never finished talking about it, and so that was this one. I'm so excited to actually be able to swatch this now and see what it looks like in person. I'm so glad she remembered to do that. The tools that I'm using for swatching are my Kakimori brass dip nib. I'm also using a pipette, maybe not this one. I like the ones that are a little softer here. This one is really thick. This one gives me a little more control. So a plastic pipette. I am going to use this Swink that my friend Wendy Sue gifted me. And then to swatch them in my ink swatch book here, I am using this, whatever this is. This is a cocktail stirrer and a Yovo medium nib that I put into this Tachikawa nib holder. This is what it looks like. So let's start. The paper that I'm using here is a Tomo River paper 52 GSM. This is a Hobonichi notebook that I purchased quite a few years ago. So this is still the very original Tomoe River paper. I have 6 inks that I can swatch. So I guess I'm doing 3 on each side, and I'm going to write this title with my Pilot Parallel nib. Oh wow, this is a 6.0 nib. Van Diemen's Last Light. So let's see how that's going to work out. I need a paper thing here. Let's do this one. Let's write in small. What is that? Lowercase samples. From Manda. If you're curious why this, I don't even know if the sound quality is so much different than to my other videos that I posted recently. 2 days ago, I found my microphone in this water glass. So I'm still trying to dry it out completely and then see if it still works. And if not, I need to consider getting a new one. So this is Kobe number 56, Rocco Shichidanka. And that's the reason why this whole swap, well, it wasn't a swap because I didn't send any ink samples back. Why this random act of kindness even happened. Let's see if I still love it as much as I did the first time around. Yeah, this is such a, yeah, maybe Diamine Lavender is similar. Let's quickly check to see if I have this already swatched. Not in this spot right here. Not in here. That's interesting. Is it a blue? Did I put it into the blur pose? Yes, right over here. Okay. So what did I say? Diamine Lavender is right here. Not at all. It's much bluer. I will pull it out later and show you. Because I didn't check in the camera if you were even able to see what I just did. So I have already swatched this in the swatch book. I'm checking back to see whether I would like to put the new ink samples that I receive or inks in general into the swatch book. But I'm also not too strict about it. Kobe number 56. Rocco Chi Danka. Oh, that's interesting because, well, I guess I didn't dip it very far. Didn't saturate the grooves. I love how legible this ink is. I love how it still has chromo shading that is visible in the writing as well as in the swatch. Yeah, I fell hard for both. I love number 57, which is Hydrangea, which is right here. It's more pink. And I love 56, which is this one, is more the blurple color here. And then Diamine Lavender, just to make sure that you can see it, is more red, more magenta than Rocco Shichidanka. And this is Diamine Gala from the Diamine Inkvent. It's also more red. Next one is Kobe number 21 Taisanji Yellow. I have heard so many people talk about this ink. I don't even know who, but I feel like this is an ink that so many people have tried before, and I have never. And so I'm so glad that I now get to see what this ink actually looks like in person. Let's check it out together. Oh my gosh, I really love how these two complement each other. When I was an exchange student in so many million years ago, the colors of the school that I went to were purple and gold. This reminds me of that school. This is Kobe number 21. I really have to say that Kobe inks are definitely one of my favorite inks. I don't know how they do it. Taisanji Yellow. They look so nice, or the ones that I'm trying are all already vetted, and I'm only getting my hands on the ones that are amazing. But I've not ever been disappointed by any of the colors. I have purchased some random inks at the 2024, I believe, San Francisco Pen Show Kobe inks that I haven't used as much. Every time I'm looking through my ink bottle stash, I am not ready to let go of them, but I made it a point to make sure that I am using them this year to see if maybe those are not ones that are hitting well with me, but this one is really lovely. Oh, I meant to. So is this this is a yellow, I would say, right? Is it a yellow orange? No. Where's my color wheel? Well, I'm just going to put it under yellow because I'm deciding what to do here. And it could also actually even go into the browns because it kind of is an ochre color. Now let's move this up here a little and then put some ink on here. Because I'm doing these smaller swatches, I have to use some smaller tools so that I am not filling up the space too much. And this medium nib here from Jovo is almost too broad for the grid here. Now I don't have a loose fine nib, otherwise maybe I would swap it to that. So this is Kobe 21 Taizan G yellow. Yeah, when I have it on here, I can see how heavily it leans towards ochre. All right, next color is Kobe Milk Chocolate. This is an ink that I was also sent a sample of by my friend Amy for the little advent calendar that she made me, which, man, was so nice. And I'm not sure if that is a color that is specifically made for me. It looks more like a Karina color. Let me check if I have milk chocolate in here. This is actually, I would even consider this. This could be considered a red orange. Maybe we should put it there. The problem is to stay in focus, or actually even in the screen, focus is secondary. When I have a certain space that this needs to go. But also it could be more counted towards a brown. But I'm really liking figuring out where they go on the color wheel. And I think red-orange is a really good place for this color to be. So then let's write on this piece of paper here. This is the Kobe Felissimo Chocolate Museum milk chocolate, and they have 3, I believe. This is Kobe milk chocolate. They also have bitter chocolate, which is right here. Milk chocolate. Yeah. Now it's starting to dry more pink, but that's okay. I'm not, as I said in other places, I'm not too fussed about the correctness of these ink colors on the swatch, in the swatch book, because then it gives me a better opportunity to compare them. Kobe milk chocolate. So if you're wondering why I'm swatching with this brass nib instead of with a nib that is more closely representative of a fountain pen nib, because clearly neither the swatch nor the broad brass nib give me an impression on how this ink would actually perform in a pen. And I'm going to be on a high horse here and tell you that, first of all, I have been doing this since 2021 and we are in 2026 now. So I do have a bit of experience. And even though the brass nib is not a good representation on how this ink might look in a fountain pen, it does give me a little bit of information about how this ink performs in general. So sometimes it will write with a smaller line width than you can see here. And that gives me a huge, almost red flag to this ink might be really dry. It also, sometimes there is a lot of ink coming off the nib right away, and the line width is even wider than this. That also tells me that, oops, this ink might actually be a really, really wet ink. And so even though it might not be a super good representation of how the nib feels, how the ink looks in a pen, it does give me a small amount of info so that I can then go from here and choose a pen that I think might work well. Obviously, if this wasn't legible in this broad of a line width at all, I would also know something about the ink. Mainly that if I had a smaller nib, it would be even less legible, of course. And then, lastly, I'm not necessarily doing these ink swatches to gather information on how I would like how this ink performs in a pen. I mainly do these ink swatches because so there's something definitely wrong with this sample vial. I am swatching these inks mainly because it just brings me a lot of joy. And there is nothing wrong with doing things because they bring you joy. Now, this is a brown that is, I think, not the right dark brown for me. When it first went down, it looked a little sickly and a little green. So did I swatch milk chocolate? Yes, I did. Have we checked what if I already swatched bitter chocolate in here? No. So let's see. No. So let's see that. This looked sickly green in the beginning, and I wasn't sure if that was the right thing for me. So let's just take this. Maybe it comes onto this glass nib. Ha! Look at that. How awesome is this? Maybe a little more. Maybe I also need to put this down here and then get this ink from here over here. Yeah, it looks a little sickly green, and that's something that I've noticed in browns. If they have the sickly green hinge, that's not necessarily a brown that I enjoy. I really like browns that are more leaning towards reds. This is Kobe bitter chocolate. Now, obviously, I don't really know if I would be able to discern this color in a pen from the ones that are right next to it, and if that green would show through. It looks really nice. The ones that are right next to it is Kobe Ink Coffee Brown, which is also a collaboration ink with a coffee shop in Kobe, I believe. This one has a lot of green sheen on it, And then I just recently swatched Conklin Rich Mahogany, which leans more red for sure. But again, would I really notice that in the writing? I don't know. And I actually don't think so. Also, I am letting go of perfectionist tendencies, and I am just going to be... Oh, can you see how much wider the line width is than here? Look at how much ink comes down when I use this ink. So that's what I was just talking about in theory, and now we can actually see it in practice. There is inks, for instance, Lamy inks tend to fall off this brass nib as if they just let go, kind of. Just like, I'm here on this paper now. And so this is something that I pay attention to. So I actually, I didn't know what pens I would be able to use my Lamy inks in. And then I had a pen, specifically the Wearingool. No, that's not a pen brand. Waterman Coren, especially in the fine nib, that pen is really doesn't release a lot of ink in the paper. It feels very dry to me. But when I put my Lamy inks, my wet Lamy inks into this pen, it works really well with each other. So that's something that I often, besides the fact to check if I have doubles of inks now, I'm also checking if, well, this is really wet. It is more suitable for drier pens. And then this is a very similar shade in this color, but it behaves more normally or even dry, and I can use it in some of my pens that are such gushers that I need a little bit of counterbalance to be able to enjoy this. There's nothing worse than a pen that puts down too little ink, but there's also something to be said about a pen that puts down so much ink that it is basically unmanageable. Both aren't really the greatest things. So, last two. This is Tono and Limbs in collaboration with Wasted Paper, and I once knew his name, but I'm completely blanking on it right now. Perfectly Insane. So let's see what that ink looks like. It looks kind of like a reddish. Oh, it's basically almost, it's very similar to milk chocolate, but it leans a little bit more purple or magenta. I don't know what I would put this in, what color category I would put this in. Let's look at this here. I almost think this is red violet, but we'll see. Let's do this first and finish the writing here, and then maybe it has dried. It's definitely a chromo shader. I'm not sure that this would be one for me. This is Tono and Limbs and Wasted. Wow. Paper. And then it's perfectly, how many U's per? Perfectly Insane. And then let's just put a tiny flower right here. Yeah, so what color is this? What do you think? It kind of reminds me of, let me flip through to the page. Yeah, this is not This is red violet. Okay. There is Tatsuya Umemurasaki. It doesn't chroma shade as much as this, I believe. What else do we have? Violet? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I think this is a red violet. But also, if it's not, that's okay too. I am going to put this over here, and is this still in that color? It might actually even be a red, just a plain old, nope, not a plain old red. Yeah, it's neither one of them. That's the hard thing about these chromo shaders, is to put them into the right color category. Doesn't matter. So how do you even do any of this? And if you do, what do you do? Do you swatch your inks chronologically? Do you put them in color order, or maybe even ink brand order? How's your system? Tono and limbs perfectly insane. Now, I've been filming a video prior to this where I also said it. None of this is required stuff that you need to do with your ink samples. You can also just put them into a pen, and that's that. You know, you don't have to swatch them. You don't have to categorize them. None of this is required in order to use them in a fountain pen. I hope you know this, and I hope you don't do things because you see them on social media and you don't enjoy it, but because everybody else is doing it, you're doing it. That's not how this works. You should do the things that bring you joy. And if swatching inks doesn't do anything for you, heck, stop it right now. Don't ever do it again. Yeah, this is a blue with a pink or copper shimmer, I believe. And clearly I haven't used this in here yet, so this would be in blue. That's right here. But if you do it, how do you do it? Let me know. And yeah, just in case you can see it, clearly Private Reserve Crazy Train doesn't belong here. But when I swatched it, it looked more blue than it looked yellow, blue-green. And so I put it on here first. Now that I'm looking at it again, it looks like I should also put a swatch over in the blue-green thing. So this is, what is this even? Diamine? Baltic Breeze. And I'm going to write shimmer here because I'm not sure that I got shimmer on this because I didn't agitate the thingamajig, you know. So then, because it is a shimmer ink, maybe we should, or I should, agitate it again so that I can write with it and maybe show you, wow, this is not clean. There we go. I have a rag to the side here where after I dip it into my water, I usually just wipe it dry like this so that I don't get it watered down. It also is a good tool to figure out whether this is actually clean or not. So all of my tools always lay on here while I'm doing these swatching videos. And now the shimmer has settled back to the bottom, but that's okay. So this is Diamine. Baltic Breeze. Yeah, I do really enjoy copper shimmer on blue inks. I don't know what it is. There's another one that is similar to this. Maybe I can remember what it is. Maybe I can find it. Let me see. If I even swatched it before. Blue Violet. No, that's not it. I feel like there's a similar ink to Baltic Breeze that also has shimmer on it, and that I would enjoy, or that I do enjoy. Definitely Colorverse Witch by Starlight, but that doesn't have a differently colored shimmer on top of it. What the hecky? What was that one? If you can think of it off the top of your head and you know what I'm talking about, just in case that's a thing, leave it in the comments down below. So here is Diamond Baltic Breeze in the swatch. And then here is all of the inks that Manda sent me. This could be I feel like I would have to decide between these two, but these four here would make up a really lovely currently inked. So now I need to figure out which one of these I would like to put into a pen right away. The thing is, I have so many inks and so many samples that are new that I would like to put into pens that I need to ink about 30 pens at one time in order to be able to get a dent, make a dent into this. In the past, that used to be a really stressful situation, having so many inks that I want to use but haven't yet. I'm trying very hard not to let this happen to me again. So this is another set of inks that I would like to get into pens. And then my friend, where is it? Bailey just recently sent me, well, I also have these Philly pens, but I think I put all of these into pens in January, so that's good. But my friend Bailey sent me samples. I wanted to put Lady Grey. Oh, Lady Grey? No, isn't the same. But I wanted to put, I think, these two into pens. So it's getting more and more and more. And in the past, this used to really throw me for a loop, and I would obsess about this. But right now, I am totally okay. I'm telling myself. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these into my drawer here where I put samples that I would like to use next. And I do have, let me just show you the samples that are already in here. And so there's a lot here. Oh, man. Someone also sent me Ackerman Gourmet Pens Pink. I haven't swatched this yet. It's still right here. This is a sample that Manda made, but it's not, I didn't receive it from her. That I have this Kai Waikiki Friendship Series from Tona and Limbs. Tona and Limbs Sakura Moonlight. I wanted to use Frostbite from the Diamond Ink Vent at some point. I'm not sure if I'm ever going to use all of these, but these were inks that made me, that I wanted to use. So next time I'm inking up some of the pens, some pens in probably March, I will pick from some of these here. All right. thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed doing something, swatching inks, and watching me swatch mine. Thank you again. I'm sending lots of love your way. I hope that you're treating your fountain pens and inks. This sentence start didn't work out. I hope that you're using your fountain pens and inks and playing with them in a way that works for you. And I hope to see you again next time. Until then, bye.